shall we begin?
Esto es un programa más de Pantalla 16:9. Gracias por acompañarnos, como siempre, en las diferentes señales de su televisión, en el canal 14 de Cablecom, también en el canal 215 de Megacable y en señal abierta digital en el canal 50.1. También estamos en la internet en www.radiotelevisiónquerétaro.mx y en Facebook también como Pantalla 16:9. Soy Luis Lozada y también agradezco al staff, a Eduardo Torres en el switcher, también a Eduardo Los Ortega en la consola de audio, gracias también a César Campos y en el máster a José Ramírez y a Pedro Vázquez. Y vamos a dar inicio con un programa dedicado a una cinta del año 2004, que fue un éxito en ese momento por la temática, que fue muy criticada, pero que creo que de las teorías que se han dicho o hecho al respecto, pues algunos científicos expertos catalogaron que era la más acertada, claro, que llevada a proporciones pues muy magnificadas para la película y para los efectos hollywoodenses. Me estoy refiriendo a la cinta El día después de mañana, una película dirigida por el alemán Roland Emmerich y que, bueno, nos había traído otras películas de desastres también, con algo de ficción, como lo fue el día de la Independencia, que ya viene por ahí la segunda parte, está ya en planes la producción, y también Godzilla de 1998. Así que bueno, vamos a ver este especial detrás de cámaras y documental de esta película que acaparó la atención en su momento con grandes efectos visuales. Veremos este documental titulado En el ojo de la tormenta, la filmación del día después de mañana, película que protagonizó Dennis Quaid, en su momento el que empezaba a repuntar en su carrera, Jake Gyllenhaal, muy joven, también Ian Holm, Emmy Rossum y Cella Ward. Así que los dejamos entonces con este detrás de cámaras del día después de mañana.
Looked at Roland and I said, well, how the hell are we going to do this? And he laughed and he said, I have no idea.
I walked on the set and it was like, wow, I'm on like a huge budgeted movie.
Millions of dollars at stake here for the people that financed the movie. So it's serious business.
Roland is great to work with because he is very mature.
He picks his moments and then he makes them so special.
As an actor, you play a secondary part to the special effects and to the movie and Roland's vision.
You have to not be fearful and just do what the effects people want you to do. You have to do what you need to do, and then they will fix it.
I've done several special effects movies, and there's an element of misery that goes with
We just wet all day for like several weeks.
recreated blizzards and floods inside a soundstage. It's amazing.
I said, when are they doing the making of this? And he said, well, you know, there are cameras around all the time. I said, well, I don't see any cameras here, so here you are. And here we are, about to fall through the ice.
It's amazing. We were on this Arctic set, but it's colder inside my trailer.
I read a book like kind of 4 years ago. It's called The Coming of the Global Superstorm by Vicklis Tribe and Art Bell. And in essence, it had this like kind of concepts in it. You know, it has described an abrupt climate shift. I kind of immediately knew this is a film scenario.
Roland and I had worked together on The Patriot, and during the making of The Patriot, he picked up a book called The Coming of the Global Superstorm, which was a theoretical account, if you will, of it was a what-if scenario in relationship to what's happening in the world environmentally. And he took this book and used it as a jumping-off point to write a screenplay called The Day After Tomorrow.
I didn't do anything! You didn't do anything! Okay, I didn't get a cue for drill stop. Oh, you want me to do that? Okay. Yeah.
It's very hard to write something alone. I always wrote together with partners. Like kind of, for example, with Dee, when we wrote Independence Day, it was like a 2-3 weeks affair. And then the script was finished, you know. We were amazingly fast, you know. This one took me 4 or 5 months. And then when it was finished, I was not very happy with it either.
Roland brought the idea to Mark Gordon and said, I think I need a writer to work with on this. And Mark Gordon had read something I'd written in the past, and he said, why don't you meet this guy I know, a young writer named Jeffrey Nachmanoff. Who's Jeffrey Nachmanoff, I think is what Roland responded. But he agreed to meet with me.
And I met 3 or 4 writers, and I immediately knew when I met, after I had met Jeffrey, that he is the one.
I had not actually ever watched a disaster movie before. So I think I got the call on a Friday that I was going to meet with Roland on Monday. So I went out and I rented Independence Day, The Patriot, and The Poseidon Adventure, and went in on Monday and sat down with Roland and said, okay, I don't really know anything about disaster movies. And he said, that's okay. I know disaster movies. But I had a lot of ideas about character and story, and I started telling him my ideas, and we just hit it off right away. And he said, okay, when can you start?
First, we were kind of discussing, you know, and we discussed everything. We even discussed to shoot in Antarctica. But what we pretty soon learned, you know, is because kind of the what's happening on the ice shelf, we couldn't probably 80% would anyway be kind of visual effects. So we kind of decided, you know, and especially in that sequence, to go totally CG. And that was a little bit scary, I have to say, but I think we pulled it off.
Like somewhere here, right? And then here, right? And then kind of behind one where you kind of go like this. Okay. And then maybe kind of this, and then down. Okay. Right? Yeah. Sure.
They had to react to a crack forming. It was only kind of some blue stripe on the ground. You know what I mean? It was interesting. I have never done something like that. I have done a lot of visual effect movies, but that was as I would say, effect movie as it gets. You know, it's like only acting with blue things and in front of a blue background. And I had to have a lot of trust in digital technology and in my visual effects supervisor. But she was also constantly saying, "Oh my God, hopefully this works." You know, sometimes you do something and it has to work.
Once we sold the script and got the commitment from Fox to make the movie, I looked at Roland and I said, well, how the hell are we going to do this? And he laughed and he said, I have no idea.
Oh my God, I couldn't even pay attention to the story the first read. All I could think is, oh my God, how the hell would we do this? I was just like, Roland's lost his mind.
I remember Mark saying, I knew you were perfect because you were totally intimidated by it. And I was like, well, thanks.
Like with Godzilla, I read the script and said, hell, how are we going to do that? You know, the answer to that is always one shot after the other, you know.
Okay, so for this one, Russell will start high, and on action, he will go down, straight down, and then we'll carry on the dialogue from there. So I'll give an action for Russell and an action for Sasha.
Shh, quiet down. Is that good, Anna?
That's good. Okay, can we try low as well? Sorry, this is.
You want to try just the high to?
Yeah. Can we bring him all the way down?
Okay, let's see what he looks like all the way down. Le plus beau possible.
Because it's very, very complicated with the floating rigs. So while I was shooting the ship, you know, on the next stage, you know, Anna was shooting with these 3 actors who played the astronauts, you know. And they had pretty much every half a day was one setup. It was very tedious and slow. And then they had to shoot it, I don't know, every take, endless time. So finally, until we were happy. And I always had on my stage, you know, also a monitor where I constantly was monitoring what they were doing. Well, the Kona beach sequence is not in the movie anymore. It was a great sequence, you know, with these two server dudes, you know, but it made the opening too long.
Set and action.
Well, I've done some weather movies before, but this is by far the biggest extreme, with all the ice and the torrential rain and wind and hurricanes and stuff.
I mean, it's like kind of very hard to kind of create a hurricane on stage. Wow. And we had like kind of the whole, you know, house on stilts and like we're rocking it, and it's quite something.
And then we had cables and rams and a lot of guys on ends of bits of string, just making everything we could move. And we made that beach hut move by using hydraulic rams. We basically built a big steel framework and basically had it all on hydraulic, so we really could shake it.
Everything what you can do practical, you do practical. It's as simple as that. You always discuss it, and you first like always try to do it practical, because you don't want to have too many visual effects in your movie.
I'm here at the Global Warming Conference in New Delhi, where if you can believe your eyes, it's snowing.
Like, I really love Montreal. It feels so much more European than the rest of North America. And we were surprised how good the crews were. I mean, we always like, everybody told us like, you have to be very careful who you hire. We had no trouble whatsoever. I think it's also like because Uli is like Swiss and I'm German. I think they embraced us also more than they normally embrace Americans. So they worked very, very hard to kind of make a good movie.
We know when you're ready, we'll start moving, we'll start doing our circuit, okay? With cars and everything.
Okay, well basically I'm giving them their training here.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, good. So I've got some movement going on right now, but they're just advancing, just to, you know, play with the clutch, basically.
This was like kind of first supposed to be in Geneva. And I said like Geneva is like kind of too easy in Montreal. So I wanted to have something exotic, and then I kind of very late in the game I decided it has to be India.
We built some pieces, and then we actually had a couple sea containers filled with stuff from India, and we've got everything we needed.
We like kind of found a building which in its base, you know, we thought we can, so digital effects could create like kind of India out of it. And what we did, we built like a fence and a gate in the foreground, and pretty much like kind of created India out of nothing.
It was very bold on his part to sort of take the leap and really kind of allow us to sort of build the wall and do everything we needed, and to sort of, and we did a very, very crude previs on it, but it convinced all of us that it was going to be possible.
Delegates here talking.
There's some more
delegates here. Have Ian here, like this.
Now more extras keep on arriving, and I don't know who's sending them onto the set. Hey Gabriel, how come so many people keep on arriving? I mean, more people are just walking into the set here, and I don't know who's sending them.
You can even have a delegate to the left of Dennis get into a cab and leave, but not blocking it.
Okay.
All right, so let's try a rehearsal.
24, thanks all right. Sorry, just play where you want. Be Mark.
Okay, and background, go. And start Dennis.
Taxi!
I enjoyed your testimony. It was very spirited.
Oh, thank you. That's what we're all here for, right? Put on a good show. Every Indian person of Indian descent living in Montreal was out there, and I mean, I've been to New Delhi, and I felt like I was there. I've read your work on ocean currents.
What do you say to a spot of tea?
Absolutely. We can hail a cab.
Cut it, guys. Let's roll, please.
29 Charlie, take one.
Big set. Background, go.
We created Tokyo on a little stage. And we knew from a construction and set dressing standpoint it was going to be dense, and we gave ourselves enough prep time to build in that level of density.
We always like kind of discuss first like kind of dressing some real street into something, but like we would have had to tent the whole street. It must have been enormously expensive too. So we decided to do it on a stage.
No matter how much stuff and time and layers that we put into it, we were still not getting these sort of, years and years and years that we wanted, and we just kept giving it more. And I think we got there, but it was the density and the layers to that set, so that we could really feel that moment in Tokyo.
Stay here. I'll be back.